Warning, we are a spoilers podcast. At times we are also an offensive podcast. And we are most certainly a verbally explicit podcast. So if you fear for any of your delicate sensibilities, please back up now before you reach the point of no return. Alright, pussies, this is your final warning.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Cinematic Anarchy. I'm Chris.
And I'm Zeph.
And we are
here.
We are here, yes. We are a low-budget podcast talking about low-budget cult cinema movies. And today's fare is a double feature. We're going to be discussing Hobgoblins and Hobgoblins 2, which are essentially the same fucking movie, just about 20 years apart.
But it's weird because the way that they initially put it out is they initially state that this is a continuation. This is the sequel, and when the first one, it's it has all the same characters, and then the second one is based off like the same character, but now he's in a mental institution, and they all meet up.
Okay,
is what it says, but it's completely different. Like if you read the plot, like online, it states that it's the next, it's a continuation.
Right, and when you watch the movie, okay, so the main character that we're discussing is MacReady. So MacReady, in the first movie, he is a security guard taking care of an old movie studio who accidentally, along with a new security guard, set free the Hobgoblins.
His little secret that he's had for many years.
In the second movie, he's playing essentially the same character. So MacReady in the mental institution has full memory of everything that happened from the first movie.
Yes.
And you can tell that. But the little group, that group of friends, that five-piece that they have, of it's like Kevin, Amy, Kyle, Daphne, and Nick, they don't seem to have any recollection of who this guy is whatsoever. They just see him as some crazy guy that they're introduced to by their college professor.
Mm-hmm. And this is years later. I mean, one of the characters was in the army. Come to find out in this one, he's dishonorably discharged. They're all in college, which they weren't in the last one. So it's definitely a continuation in some points. And it seems like Kevin kind of has... Not like when he looks at MacReady, it's like, I know you. But they never, address that either.
Right. So it's like MacReady kind of recognizes them, and Kevin sort of recognizes MacReady, and so they kind of connect a little bit there in the second movie, but it's like MacReady kind of had a fever dream that was the first movie.
Yeah, I'm sorry, getting attacked by, little alien creatures in the first one, that would stick with me for the rest of my life. And me having a character, I worked with you for a day, but we went through some shit. I'd remember that.
However, as old as MacReady was in the first movie, he would not be alive in this second movie at that particular time period. He would be flat dead.
He could be, holding on.
Not looking that good. He looked like a guy in maybe his 60s at best.
In the first one,
he looked like he was in his 70s. He looked like he was running with a diaper attached.
Yeah, but that was because of the Hobgoblins. After destroying them in the first one, he got eternal life, and now his whole life he has to fight Hobgoblins. So his fantasy is to live forever. What if this is his fantasy?
I don't know. They said they were going to make a Hobgoblins 3. When we watched the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray disc, there was a little Comic-Con thing where Rick Sloan, the director, he was talking to the fans. He had it was Rick Sloan, and I think Kelly Palmer, the original Daphne, was there. And they were discussing, hey, we were supposed to have a Hobgoblins 3 out later this year. And I'm like, well, that was, 2009? and now it's
So
10 years later.
So, those of you who are listening, there are two female characters. One of them name is Daphne, and which is the other?
Amy.
Amy.
So that's the main group of friends.
Who do you think the whore was? Daphne or Amy?
Are we asking the audience? Because
Yes.
I already know.
Oh, we already know. Like, so we're just giving them a couple of moments to. I want you guys to give your own honest opinion. Comment on this.
Well, if they've seen Hobgoblins and they're listening,
Then
to
you'll
this,
understand.
They already know.
If you're here just to see whether it's worth watching or not, I liked it. I mean,
all you have to do is watch that first scene in Club Scum where she... Hi, Daphne. Hello, Daphne. Everybody's saying hi to Daphne. They know her well.
Daphne is the whore.
Daphne was not exactly true to her boy Nick when he was in the military. And Nick, he comes back from the military, and the only thing that he seems to remember of his military training is how to fight with a rake.
A rake and a shovel.
So, that's like near the beginning of the movie. Near the beginning of the movie, before he goes to his first day, Kevin goes to his first day as the new security guard at the studio lot. He and Amy run across Nick and Daphne, and they all kind of get together in the home there, and of course Kyle, who can forget, hairy-palmed Kyle there. And somehow it comes to be that Nick challenges Kevin to a fight on the front lawn, basically.
And he's like, "Oh, look what I learned in the military, bruh."
And Kevin gets the hoe, and Nick gets the rake, which is the exact opposite in real life, because, Nick gets the hoe in real life.
Yeah,
that would be Daphne. But so they're fighting on the front lawn. This is probably the first point in the movie where it wasn't the original death scene, that original guard in the vault. The first scene that I knew this movie was going to be bad was when they got into that fight on the front lawn, because it was kind of cute and campy up until then.
Yeah, and then it was, every hit it was like, Jan, Jan, Jan.
So you can tell that this movie studio that they're talking about is an old Warner Brothers cartoon lot, because all the sound effects in this movie came straight out of the Warner Brothers cartoons.
Just about.
Every time they smacked those rakes together, there was sounds like that. There was a headbutt in the movie that sounded like two coconuts cracking together.
Yeah.
It was just horrible sound effects throughout the entire movie. Not to mention the Hobgoblins.
Definitely in the second one, they were a lot more animated than the first.
I liked the Hobgoblins in the second one. They were a little bit more animated in the second one, not the first one.
The second one was better. The first one was like there was no movement at all. They're fighting a teddy bear. They had to reach behind them to grab the teddy bear to pull them onto themselves. To be like, I'm getting attacked.
So the Hobgoblins themselves kind of looked like a cross between the Gremlins and the Critters. Two separate movies, but every time they attacked somebody and they're rolling around on the floor, it just looked like they were rolling around with a rejected toupee from Don King.
Yeah, with no blood. Like, you guys are getting injured by these things, but no blood at all.
So for a campy 80s horror movie, there's like no blood, like you were saying. Well, there was a little blood.
I don't think there was any blood.
There was blood in the beginning. The
guy cut his finger off.
No. That was the second movie. I'm talking the first one. When the guy who had the dream of being the rock star, the security guard that first got lured in there, when they found him, he was covered in blood and laying on the ground.
Yeah.
So, you didn't see any actual violence. You just saw the dude laying on the ground, the aftermath.
And then McCready just locks him in the vault, which is where he was keeping them. And the whole time he's telling people, he's like, everybody's like, "Oh, what's down that hallway?" He's like, "Nothing. Don't worry about it. Old machinery. It's dangerous." Not giving. I feel like you give a definitive reason why not to go down the horror hall.
Right. Or at the very least, if you've got something locked away in the vault that you don't want to get out, weld it shut.
Yeah, it's not being used clearly.
Nobody can get in there.
It's clearly not being used because. The executive has no idea that there's been hobgoblins being stored in the vault for many a year.
Obviously, whatever movies this particular studio was making, nobody really gave a shit to see what was in the vault. Of course, that's the movie vault. That's the vault where all the movies are supposed to be kept, and obviously nobody's going in there.
That one guy who was trying to rob the place.
Yeah, well, we don't know what he was really doing, do we? He kind of ended up around there somewhere, around the vault, because that's how Kevin ended up letting the hobgoblins loose, but we really don't know what he was doing other than, I guess, when MacReady first came across him, he just wanted to give him a hug. Hug and a knife. Here, I got a hug and a really, really violent shave for you. You look like you could use a shave.
You know, and it's so bad because, you know, Nick has his super slutty girlfriend, and Kevin, who's dating Amy, is dating the biggest prude ever. And, you know, when they do their little fight, their stick fighting scene in the beginning. Kevin loses, and Amy just is like, yeah, I can't believe it. Like, you're embarrassing me.
You humiliated me.
Like, he's an army man, and he just kicked my ass with army techniques I know nothing about.
I don't think she was a prude, because that fantasy that came later on, she was just severely sexually repressed and wanted him to be like a bad boy, like Nick was. But he just wasn't. He wasn't that guy.
She was trying to sleep with Nick. It's a terrible girlfriend. I would have dumped her right in the beginning when she got mad. Like, you're embarrassing me. And be like, yeah, bye.
Okay, I just got laid out by a guy in the military. I have no military training whatsoever, so I feel like I stood my own as much as I needed to. And you're embarrassed by me? I'm embarrassed by you.
you and your goddamn librarian turtleneck wearing ass bitch.
He should have just gone out with Kyle. Kyle needed somebody.
Oh, yeah, Kyle.
Kyle takes a break, and he's constantly running up. So this is in the heyday of 976 numbers. The $3 a minute, and we'll sit here and give you a recording for you to listen to and soil your palms with. And,
yeah. Oh, what are you wearing, baby?
Yeah. Kyle has this thing for a particular 976 number where this girl named Fantasia resides. And this thing insinuates that somebody live actually picks up on the other end and you can talk to them, which was a rarity back then. They were all like recorded messages. A new adventure awaits you tomorrow. That's a new recording. You're not talking to a live person on the end. They're not taking responses from
Everybody's getting the same hand job, blow job.
You know? And, yeah, I love that because somebody else calls in. Please hold. If you call into a 976 number, are you holding? It's $3 a minute. You're not holding for anything.
I'm holding my dick.
Yeah. Okay, put that away. Anyway.
Not now.
And of course, Kevin comes in and he's in the middle of that. He's like, hey, who are you calling? Oh, I'm just calling my girlfriend. We're not going to introduce you, but she's kind of shy.
And he's like, because, be careful with my phone lines. This, I have to keep calling the phone company to cancel charges because they keep saying I'm calling this number, the sex hotline number. And he's like, oh, that's so weird. Well, he's on the phone with the sex phone line.
Right. So he's obviously, racking up a bill and kind of charging it to his boy Kevin there, and Kevin's none the wiser. So a bunch of idiot friends, really. They're all kind of stupid for each other.
I mean, Kevin's at the end of the day, Kevin has the most morale, and he's the most human out of all of them.
He was probably the most put together. I mean, Kyle is so sexually frustrated that he was willing to sit in a car while Fantasia tried to push him over a cliff. No, you just sit right there. Just sit right there. And Fantasia's in the back trying to push the car over the cliff. He hops out to see her doing it. Do you need any help?
Now, mind you, this isn't the actual version of Fantasia. And in the first movie, what it is that the Gremlins...
Not Gremlins. Wrong movie. Hobgoblins.
Hobgoblins. I am sorry. They look similar. But the Hobgoblins... They what they do is they give you your world, your greatest fantasy, but as you are living out your greatest fantasy, it kills you.
Right.
So his greatest fantasy was his woman, and she's trying to push him off the cliff, and he just completely.
And the funny thing is that there's only one person. Maybe two that were just not affected. No, actually, just one person that wasn't really affected by the fantasy thing. There was one person that would not let them take over her mind. That was Daphne.
Yes.
Because she was the only person that just did as she pleased. She was not... She lived out her greatest fantasies. She didn't repress them at all.
Yeah, she was always out there. Kevin, his greatest fantasy was to be the world's greatest military man.
Now Kevin just wanted
Rambo.
to be able to impress his girlfriend. That was his whole thing.
Oh, Kevin, I was thinking of Nick.
Nick was the Rambo guy.
Yeah.
He wanted to be Rambo basically.
And Was his drill instructor actually there, or was that part of the everything?
I think that was part of the whole fantasy thing. I think maybe he had a thing for his drill instructor. It's possible.
Yeah, maybe.
You know?
And he comes over.
Wants that praise from his drill instructor.
Yeah, where he's like, "All right, man." And then but the thing is like he's trying to recruit Daphne into my casting couch in the van with all the other military men that he says he has.
Right.
And so that's why I'm like, was he real? Was he fake? Was he real or was he fake?
Right, so that's where Daphne kind of broke the thing. She was like, I don't want to do this. Because he's like talking about her entertaining at the USO and entertaining the troops. And he's like, I got a whole truck full of them outside for you to entertain. And when you're done with them...
So her initial fantasy is just to get gangbanged.
No, I think that's where they went wrong. I think like they tried to play it up that way, and that's why she was like, "Oh hell no, I'm not doing that.
I could do that whenever I want."
I think her fantasy was to be recognized for something other than what she was, and that's why she was kind of susceptible to the whole USO thing. Oh, I'm going to perform for the troops and this, that, and the other thing, and then when she realized what exactly this guy was asking her to perform, she was like, "Oh hell no," and that's what broke the spell for her.
And at one point, the drill instructor throws the grenade down on the ground, and he's like, "Save your men!" And friggin' Nick jumps right on it, gung ho Captain America style. Only it's a real grenade, and he gets bursted into flames.
Supposedly.
Which, fun fact, there's no light when the grenade goes off.
No.
It is an explosion.
So the grenade goes off. And the thing that I noticed about that scene, what you're left with is you're left with smoking boots. So basically, somebody threw a grenade to kill the Hobgoblin. Mm-hmm. It killed the Hobgoblin. Apparently, it was supposed to have disintegrated Nick right on the spot, but the Hobgoblin's just laying on the ground like a dead stuffed animal. No smoke, no nothing. Doesn't look like it was damaged at all. Destroyed Nick less than a foot away.
Yeah. Aliens.
Yeah, pretty durable. I mean, you would have figured the Don King fur would have been singed a little bit, but yeah.
Which, so you have everything going this way, and at the end they finally defeat these Hobgoblins.
Right.
Now, they were alien creatures initially in the first one.
Right.
Or was that McCready's
Could have been McCready's fantasy. I mean, that's kind of how they were playing it out in the second one.
Because in the second one, so what they end up doing is they end up blowing up the studio at the end in the first one to kill all of them. Then in the second movie, it's McCready in a mental hospital for blowing up the studio. But now everything else has changed. The Hobgoblins are based off of fear, so it's like the Bloody Mary, like.
Yeah, it's kind of like Beetlejuice. You call his name 3 times, and the fucking things appear. You know? Yeah. Or Bloody Mary is more accurate because Bloody Mary is supposed to appear and kill you.
So they end up essentially. When they go there, now they're all in college. Right. Nick got his federal grant from the military. Kevin would just pass his SATs, I guess. I forget how he got in. Daphne slept with her professor.
Right.
Amy was just book smart.
Amy was like the smart one of the group.
Yeah.
But they were all back to their... Because they kind of had put away all those issues in the first movie. So by the end of the movie, Amy's sexual repression had gone away, and they did
it. Yeah, Kevin got some booty.
And by the time this next movie comes up, they're all back to their old, I'm kind of a hoe bag, and this one's a prude, and all the same stereotypes from the first movie.
Yeah. Which I was so happy for Kyle in the first one when we think that Nick is dead, and he gives Daphne a flower, and she's like, "Oh my God, nobody's ever given me a flower before." And it's like, all right, he's finally gonna get some. Little scumbaggy because her boyfriend just died, and that was your friend, but whatever. And then
I don't think Nick was anybody's friend. He was just Daphne's boyfriend.
No, that does make sense. But even so, it's like, he comes walking up like all hurt and everything, and Daphne's like, "Oh, forget this flower," immediately, and
tosses it on the ground and goes with Nick again.
Now Kyle's just, with Mary Palm and her 5 sisters.
And yeah, he ends up doing the same thing with a different Fantasia. In this movie, because advent of online technology, now he's dealing with an online fantasy version of Fantasia who's maxing out his credit cards.
Yeah. But what gets me is I just feel like this was a complete remake, and they brought little things from the first one and made it into the second one.
Yeah, it was. I mean, a lot of the same jokes were done.
Yeah.
And I mean, all of the old stereotypes, except for this time they had to get over those stereotypes by overcoming their fears.
Yeah. I mean, but, you know, it wasn't even, like, to morally change themselves. It was, like, the first one. The first one, like, yeah, you get to live out your fantasy, but your fantasies may kill you in the end. In this one, your fear will kill you. And, like, Kevin was afraid to stand up for himself.
Right.
He ends up doing so with his teacher.
Right.
Amy is afraid of dolls.
Yeah, that was a little weird. No, it was basically afraid of puppets.
Puppets, yeah.
Which I thought was kind of a funny little pun because obviously the things that are trying to kill her are puppets.
Yeah. Why'd you even have to become other puppets?
I'm afraid of puppets. Well, that's funny because guess what's going to kill you? It's a fucking puppet.
Yeah, but it's weird just how like the Gremlins' powers change in the end. Because before it was fantasy, now it's fear.
Well, I mean, it is a technical sequel. I want to say you got to treat that like a DC Elseworld. Like DC, they have Elseworlds where like you have kind of the same character, but it's a different twist on the same character. So it's kind of the same storylines, but it deviates a little bit. I want to say that's kind of what this did, except for the only character that didn't deviate was MacReady, because MacReady was a literal continuation of the first movie. Right,
like he blew up the place. Now he's in a mental institution for blowing up his job.
Right.
Even though it wasn't his job, he got fired on that one. And then he's like, "Oh yeah, boss, you remember how you fired me? There was nobody on duty and the place is on fire. Turns out you're screwed for the insurance."
Yeah,
I like that about him. His boss was a dick.
All right, and he laughed. He was very happy about that. Oh yeah, nobody was on duty when that happened. I guess you're screwed.
Yeah, see you later. Now you threaten him after you blew it up, and you know they end up the mental hospital when they first get there. The guy who like just cuts his finger off.
Right.
You wanna see a magic trick? No, like how many fingers am I holding up? 3. Nope, 2. Like, oh shit.
Right, and then he cuts off his fingers, and how many am I holding up now?
Like, oh, and they're like, don't engage him. He said he just wanted to play a game. You know who else wants to play a game?
And they use Amy as sort of a pun. Like the first time you see Amy, or one of the first times when they're having their little party at night while Kevin's doing his thing, she's sitting and reading a book that literally is a memoir of a call girl.
Yeah.
Right? So that's how they kind of touch on her sexual oppression there. And then the second one was when she was in college, the college version of Amy was very abnormal anatomy. Or very abnormal psychology.
Yeah.
So they're using like books that she's carrying around as puns.
Yeah. And like, you know, I understand her fear. Kevin's fear was combat, which is weird because that was his fantasy previously.
Right.
Daphne's fear...
I don't remember her fear.
She wouldn't watch the scary parts of the movies.
Oh.
She always closed her eyes, so it seemed like she was never afraid, but she's always been afraid.
Right. So she's like afraid of everything, kind of.
Then, poor Kyle.
Kyle's fear was being bankrupted by the person that he was in love with.
Well, essentially being used and admitting that he's being used by her. Like, his fear was the knowledge of it.
I mean, not for nothing. I mean, he's going to a pornographic website.
They're free.
Well, they are now.
They're free then, too. 30-second clips all over the place. They showed boobs on the home screen.
Back in 2009?
That was enough. Yeah, I've been jerking off since way before then.
With what he was doing, no. Like, the kind of stuff that he was doing, he was going online to, like, webcam girls. And back then, that you paid them. You paid for any access to them. If you want to have that interaction, like, he was in love with this
MyFreeCams.com.
Yeah, well, guess what? He was obsessed, and he had, like, one-on-one interactions. Those private rooms, those are not free.
The private rooms are not free.
And, she definitely was using him for his money.
Oh, 100%. Oh, baby. Just, $15 more and we can have a private session.
Yeah, she was definitely using him for what he had. And that was his fear, like that she had maxed out his credit cards and he had no way out of it.
Which, at the end of the day, you don't.
Well, I guess, ultimately his fear was not having enough money to continue to see her, if you think about it.
And they end up, the way that he breaks this is to cut his card.
Right.
To give up
I'm not paying you anymore.
Yeah. His was kind of more along the fantasy line, like from the first movie.
Right. So, his fantasy was literally killing him.
Yeah. And this one almost did too. She comes reaching out of the computer screen, starts choking him up.
But I feel with low budget technology, if you watch trauma movies, there is so much more that they could have done with this flick to make it a little bit more, I guess, I don't want to say believable because it's Hobgoblins. It's not going to be believable. But at least make it I want to say a little less of a severely low budget looking movie.
Yeah, I definitely feel like they should have made the Hobgoblins a little bit more real looking. Dress somebody up. In 2019, there was plenty of makeup.
Daphne looked exactly like she did in the old movie, still wearing the 80s gear from head to toe.
Mm-hmm.
Two completely separate actresses, but they did very well finding her second. Like, the other guys didn't really look like their originals.
Yeah.
None of them, not even McCready. And the Daphne one, though, was, spot on. Kind of looked almost exactly like the original.
Yeah. So, what I kind of liked, and this kind of, it kind of sprang like a fan theory in my head, is McCready was the guy sitting there at the he was the head security guard.
Okay.
Then Kevin comes around. Kevin is dressed up the same exact way that he is dressed.
Okay.
Then you go to the future scene, and McCready's in the mental hospital, and they're wearing pretty much the same exact thing, except McCready has his shirt tucked in.
Oh.
The shirts are a different color, but it's the same exact look. So it's is this some sort of they're connected, future past type deal? And that's why McCready always recognizes him and is wow, you're a good guy, and he just has respect for him because that's the next reincarnation of them.
I want to say a Back to the Future kind of thing where he sort of recognizes him even though he's part of an alternate timeline. That's what I feel.
Yeah, so
it's an alternate timeline kind of thing.
But I was kind of going on the level of they are the same person. McCready and Kevin are the same person.
Just him when he was young, traveled back to try to fix the mess.
Yeah, and he started, maybe if I blow up the this place, we'll be able to fix it. No. Oh, well, maybe if in this future, you know what I mean, and he finally figures out the way to do it is to face your fear.
All right. I can see that.
As opposed to killing them.
All right. So moving on from the gushing about these two badass movies, or bad movies that were kind of ass, let's discuss what you think your favorite character from each movie is.
All right.
All right. Well, I'll want me to go first?
Yeah. Well, I think about it. I gotta.
So the first movie, my favorite character in that entire movie has to be the Club Scum DJ, the weirdo from that's basically insulting everybody on stage. That was played by Darren Norris.
Yeah.
Honestly, fantastic actor. I think he's still doing stuff at this point.
Yeah.
One of the few from that movie that is still out there making bank.
And what about the second one? How do you feel?
The second one, in all honesty, I really found it hard to love much of anybody in there except Daphne. Everybody else seemed to be so devoid of charisma, and Daphne was just my favorite of the second movie. And they didn't make her out to be as much of... She was loyal to Nick in that particular movie. They didn't make her out to be the town doorknob.
No, even so, she still was. How'd you guys even make it here? Oh, I slept with my teacher.
I want to say that felt more like... Oh, I was a little too close to the microphone for that I. I feel like that was sort of like a pun. Like she was kind of saying that jokingly. Not that she actually slept with her professor. I feel like they were kind of...
I think she, because like even Nick like was throwing like sexual innuendos like at her the whole time, like who hasn't done it with Daphne, who hasn't been locked in a closet with her, so like essentially he was throwing that out in her face the whole entire time, which clearly she likes being treated like dirt.
There wasn't anybody that they had run across. Like in the original movie, they ran across people all the time.
No,
as soon as they hit the clubs. How are you, Daphne?
In the second one, Club Scum burnt down. Did that have to do with them?
I want to say yeah, the clubs, but see, they didn't even have any recollection of the place burning down.
I thought we were going to go to Club Scum. Oh, that place burnt down months ago.
Right.
This
is what I'm saying. It's like, I think the original movie, all right, it does play in, but I think it's like an alternate timeline kind of thing. Like maybe something happened when they originally killed the Hobgoblins.
That they like forced
something that sort of displaced McCready in the timeline, and so he eventually ends up in a nut bin, ready for electroshock therapy because he thinks that he's still in that original timeline. And I think maybe it displaced him somewhere.
The original timeline, as well as the lobotomies going left and right.
Yes, lobotomy guy. I liked him. He was kind of.
At first,
that might be my favorite from the second movie, the lobotomy guy.
Yeah, I do have to say he's my favorite. He's like at first he's just a crazy nut job. I'm going to cut my finger off. They give him a full like a frontal lobotomy.
Yeah,
he has a scar on his head the whole time, but he's just like. Can
you give me directions? Can you give me directions to this room here? And well, let's see, first room here, and the second room, and then the third room, and then he just pauses. Now the first room here, and then the second room is this.
He's like, come on, like, let's go. And he's like, I don't know, maybe because I don't have my full brain. Like,
it'll take less time for me to just find this place on my own. Right. Forget you.
My first one, the first movie for me, definitely McCready. I mean, there was some things I didn't like about him. He, like, why not tell everybody this shit? Because it's... Really, like, if he just told people, like, eventually make a big stink about it, and they'd be like, yeah, you don't believe me? Go. I need you as a witness to see this guy die, because I told you not to do it, and you did the thing that I told you not to do, and now you're dead, right?
Right.
Made it, like, nationally publicized. They would have blew that place up years ago.
Well, now, here's the thing, the disconnect that I had with the first movie. The big fucking plot hole that I had with the whole first movie is... I get that they were trying to just rush right into it and get into the story, but McCready was supposedly taking care of this place and keeping those things in there for decades. All right. At one point, these things went on a rampage and killed a bunch of people. Now, they don't just kill somebody and the body disappears. The body is still there, which is made very obvious when that first security guard gets killed, which we find out is not the first security guard to get killed underneath him. It was like the third. First of all, where are the bodies going? Second of all, why hasn't he been arrested at this point?
I think for the security guards themselves,
right?
They ended up being in the vault and kind of became like food for the Hobgoblins.
Okay, so we're insisting that these things eat these guys after they've killed them.
For the ones who died inside the vault.
Right.
The people who died outside, I feel like they just wrote it off as accidents. Because I can't technically see your fantasy unless I believe that these are happening.
Right, I understand that. But these things were supposed to have taken out the entire studio, pretty much. Like, he talked about this. The rampage that these Hobgoblins originally went on before he got them locked up in the vault, they took out most of the studio.
Why do you think they need a security guard on at all times? And if they don't have the security guard on, if an incident happens,
right, then
the studio won't take care of them.
So they writing this off like that stock market
crash? It was all accidents. It was like, oh, this happened, this happened, this happened. No, there were no witnesses for this, so we can't say that this happened.
Right.
So it was an accident.
It doesn't look like you killed him because there's no strangulation marks. There's nothing. The guy's just dead right there.
No, this guy fell, hit his head. This guy fell off a cliff because he was jerking off. So in the end, it's kind of like he could have prevented a lot of this tragedy, all these people dying, by just putting it out there that it happened and really bringing forth, like, if I brought it up to you, something up to you, and you said that's crazy, I'm like, no, for real, you know, and then eventually be like, watch, like, let me put this cat in that room. What happened to the cat? The cat died because of these hobgoblins.
Well, I thought he like tried to bring it up, and when he brought it up, that's how this whole mess ended up happening. Like half the studio got killed.
Well, after the studio got killed, he's tried bringing it up to the owner of the studio, and he was just like, "Oh no, you're just making up stories." And it's like,
the owner think like these people just committed suicide. You know, they all killed themselves because the studio's going under, and less people we have to feed and less people we have to pay. You know.
Yeah, I mean, we're paying this security guard enough money. You know, let's not make another movie here ever again.
Don't need to pay anybody else to make up stories. This is a movie studio lot.
What do you think we do here?
Not make up stories. We don't make up stories at the movie studio. If it's the studio that filmed this, we try to make up stories, and instead we make hobgoblins.
Hey, and whatever, you know, it's weird.
I kid.
It's weird to me how, like, but that's why at the end, that's why he's like my favorite character though, because like he's held this secret in, and he's like trying to save people, and you know, kind of weeding out the weak that don't listen to him and they die, and he's just kind of like nonchalant about it, like, oh, quit again.
No. Well, he doesn't quit. He blows up the
Well,
studio.
no. Well, he got fired, but like everybody, all the 3 people before Kevin, like he was just kind of like, oh, they quit again, and he had to like bear that secret the whole entire time that like these killer creatures are in the vault.
Right. Yeah, it's his partners are being killed off one by one. You think that he would have like given that information to the other 3 guys that got killed, not tell them, hey, you know, there's machinery downstairs. You
Sure, that might hurt you a little bit.
And even still, up until just before the rock and roll dude got killed, you know, he was still telling them a lie. He wasn't telling them the truth about what was down there. And obviously he was getting old enough. He's getting long in the tooth. He needs to tell somebody, hey, this is what's going on. I'm going to need somebody that can actually do something to take care of this.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, he also didn't want to ruin Kevin's life, is how he pretty much put it out to be. He was like, no, like, Kevin's like, you know, I'll stay here. You know, I'll work here for the rest of my life and keep this secret. And he's like, no, like, enough is enough. You know?
I mean, why didn't he blow up the studio years ago? I mean, did he have to wait for 3 security guards to get murdered and half the studio before he finally said, you know what, let's just throw a grenade in here?
I think it was more Kevin's courageousness and the fact that he got fired. Like, you know, like, it was all that, like, rolled up in one. Yeah, fine, you're gonna fire me? I have the ultimate revenge right now.
Nothing else to lose. What else are you gonna do to me? Well, we're gonna put you in the fucking nut house for the next movie.
3 square meals a day.
3 square meals a day
People
and enough
who are forced
electricity
to
to get
talk
my
to me.
dick up. You know, it's
Enough electricity for everyone. But, you know, and then they have that weird machine in the second one that shows you what, like their deepest repressed memory, and it happens to be like a hobgoblin.
right. Well,
Mr. McCready's.
So, if you go to IMDb, the second one was rated just 0.02 points higher than the first one, but it's still considered one of the worst movies of all times by IMDb standards. Rotten Tomatoes gave it like an 11%. IMDb gave it a 2.2 out of 10. Second one got a 2.4 out of 10 and a 22% through Rotten Tomatoes. I'm guessing that's just because it had a higher quality film. It was just a nicer looking film than the original was. The Hobgoblins were a little bit more animated. Not by much, but at least it didn't look like they were completely and utterly wrestling with stuffed animals the entire time.
I'm going to give this an Anarchy rating. My personal Anarchy rating of a 6.
A 6?
Yes.
Out of what?
Out of 10.
You're going to give... Okay, as to it being a bad movie? So it's...
No, an Anarchy rating is... this is brand new, guys. I just threw this on Chris. He has no idea what I'm talking about.
I'm surprised. I don't know what the hell's going on here. We're going to have to flesh this out.
Flash feature. So we should do an Anarchy rating for this, and all of us have our different opinions of movies, and it's how you feel where that ranks. So right now, you and me, I think it's a 6 out of 10 because I enjoyed the movie, and it wasn't The Killing Death.
Oh, we'll get to that at another time.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? So, like, here's where we've
seen worse.
Yeah,
you know.
So, like, obviously the worst of the worst movie is going to be a 0. The best low-budget film is going to end up being a 10. Like, my Anarchy rating for a movie that I hope we do in the future would be Rock and Rollers.
Okay.
That's a 10. I loved that movie.
So I guess what we're trying to get at here is that when we're rating movies, we're looking at low-budget, grindhouse, sometimes things that people made in their fucking basement. All right, so we're not rating high-budget, multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar films. We're rating the lowest of the low for the most part. Things that flew under the radar. Things that were supposed to be great, but ended up horrible. So, I mean...
And our average Anarchy rating for whomever is on that particular podcast, hopefully, forget Rotten Tomatoes. All right, you guys want to hear our rating, right? That's why you're listening to us.
Okay. So, I want to say, I've seen a lot of bad movies, probably far more than you have. Yeah. I have seen most of Troma's catalog. So, when I'm rating, I'm coming from a different place than you are. And you'll figure that out once I really start diving into the Troma catalog and throw in some shit that's not Tromeo and Juliet at you. So, of all the bad movies I've seen, I'm gonna go a little higher than IMDb did, and I'm gonna give it probably about a 4. I'll give it about a 4 out of 10 for my rating. And the second one, I'm gonna give it worse, maybe a 3.5. So the first one, was a true so bad it's good kind of movie. The second one was them trying to bank off of the so bad it's good feel from the first movie, but not pulling it off at all.
I did like their little bit of jokes that they had in, like, when they go meet up with Daphne and Nick, and he's like, as long as you just try to fight me with like garden tools.
Yeah, it's like, we're not fighting with garden tools this time. Well, he did. He tried to fight him with garden tools, and he just tossed the thing.
On the parody of the first.
He took the rake this time, and Kid got the shovel, and he's like, I'm not doing this, and he tossed it down. Yeah. Much to everybody's disappointment. Daphne's mostly. Daphne was very disappointed that there was no fight. She was real excited there was going to be one, and then there wasn't.
She was going to get all hot and heavy.
Because she likes it when Nick fights. And turns out Nick's a coward, and she's a scaredy cat, so.
Yeah, weird. Sometimes the people with the bravest face are the scariest.
And of course, as we go along, we'll flesh out this rating system a little bit, and even maybe put up some...
This is a brand new concept. So when you get an Anarchy rating, we'll probably put it in our title. You're gonna know which ones you want to watch and which ones that are just we're gonna make jokes about.
Well, as it stands, we're taking the bullet for you. So these movies we consider a shot fired, and either we're throwing ourselves in front of the bullet for you, or telling you, hey, you might want to take the bullet on this one.
Not for nothing, I guarantee you should watch all of these. I'm a big low budget film fan.
I say a few joints and a few beers, and any of these movies would be fine to watch.
Incorrect.
No?
You know what movie I'm talking about.
Which movie are we talking about?
The one that we're going to feature at one point in time for a little... The Killing Death.
Well, no, I'd even say The Killing Death might be worth it.
Acid.
We were definitely not in the right frame of mind, and honestly, there are points of that movie I liked there, too. There were other points where I was like, this is so ludicrously bad, I don't know what's going on.
It hurts my brain.
So I have to admit, I looked away several times, and I think I ended up like on my phone a few times just because I'm like, I can't deal with this.
Yeah. No, but we'll work on the Anarchy rating in the future. Brought to you by us, and you know what? If it gets a good rating, watch it. If it doesn't, still watch it.
Hey,
either way.
You're not supposed to tap on... I know I'm cutting you off here, but you're not supposed to tap on the table. They can hear that.
Yeah. You guys need to hear my aneurysms.
Yeah. Aneurysms?
Whatever.
You're having an aneurysm after this?
I'm having an aneurysm.
And of course, our lovely co-hosts, Nico and... Oh, and there we go. I'm going to smack the computer after I told you not to tap the table. Nico and... or Miss B, I should say, and Omar have not heard this rating system yet. Now... I'm not sure if you're going to hear this first little rating before or after we discussed it with them. This is one of those podcasts that I will fully admit we try to throw some of the canon beforehand in case the shit hits the fan and nobody can be there. Me and Seth, we're able to get together during the week almost any time, so we can kind of throw a few what we'd call backup podcasts, a buffer podcast, if you will, into the canon and have something nice and ready to go. That's what this is. So we watched Hobgoblins specifically for that.
Hobgoblins.
What was that? What was that fantastic song in the first movie?
You were a big
Kiss
fan.
Kicker?
Yeah, Kiss Kicker.
Kiss Kicker 99? 88. No, it was not 99, of course. I really liked that, and they actually continued it into the second one. I found that song on Spotify, and I absolutely love it. Added it to my list. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break here to bring up a little bit of our sponsor, and then we'll be right back, and we're going to do a little bit of trivia.
Now, do you want to do a little pitch storm also?
One-on-one pitch storm is...
You get too graphic, you're right.
Yeah,
I think you and me are the ones who get a little too graphic anyways on occasion, so...
we need the other folks to kind of balance us out a little bit. But I will definitely do a little bit of trivia to end this out.
All right, sounds good. Sounds like a plan.
All right, and we'll be right back. All right, so I'm not entirely sure how long this is going to take, so we both grabbed a nice little stack of cards for each of us, and I'm going to go ahead and let Zeph... you can start first. Go ahead.
What Michael J. Fox comedy tagline was, "He's a big city plastic surgeon in a small town that doesn't take plastic"?
Oh, I already know what that is. That's Doc Hollywood.
All right, Mr. Movie Genius over there.
Have you seen Doc Hollywood?
No, I have not.
I mean, of all of his movies, I want to say it's probably mid-range, but it's still well worth watching. Definitely well worth watching.
We have so many comedies, like comedy movies that I've seen, and there's so many I haven't. So I
want to say that was like right around his. It was like a romantic comedy kind of thing. It was not bad. You know, big city doctor in a small town. You see a lot of that in movies, but it is one of his better movies. All right, here we go.
Pre Tremors.
Tremors.
Michael J. Fox has Parkinson's.
Oh, I'm thinking the movie. Tremors.
Pre-Tremors, yeah.
You said Tremors. I'm thinking, no, that's Kevin Bacon. What the hell are you doing?
I was trying to be politically correct, and I had to end it with...
Yeah, okay. Well, you did a bad job of being politically correct, because we went right into it.
Yeah. You get one try, and then I'm going back to the best way I could go about it. All right, your turn.
You realize what fucking podcast we are, right? We're not supposed to be politically correct.
I've been trying. I've been trying. And it just ends on me sounding funny because I say something.
All right. Well, okay. What 1983 thriller is based on a Stephen King novel and features a psychic man named Johnny Smith and a psychotic presidential candidate named Greg Stilson?
Ooh.
It's a USA television show.
Honestly, I can't think of it. When you said Stephen King and then you said psychic... For some reason, I thought of the John Travolta one, Phenomenon, but I don't believe that that's it. And
no.
Then Dreamcatchers was the only
I'll give you one other little hint, and it's a TV show. It's not a...
Okay.
We're not talking about a movie. This thriller, it is a TV show. It was originally a movie starring Christopher Walken.
Nope.
Like an old 70s kind of flick.
No.
All right. I'll give this one to you. It is The Dead Zone.
See, never seen it.
You've never seen The Dead Zone?
I'm a little bit younger than you.
You like sci-fi kind of?
I do.
Yeah, it's definitely worth watching. As Stephen King TV show adaptations go, that was one of the better ones. They kind of went off the rails near the end, but it was still well worth it.
One of my favorite Stephen King's movies was Storm of the Century.
TV miniseries.
Yes.
The book that came out, they put out a book. But it was like just the screenplay for the TV show.
Yeah, essentially. I like that one.
All right, go ahead. Your turn.
What movie stars Whoopi Goldberg, which directed by Steven Spielberg and was based on the novel by Alice Walker? So what movie stars Whoopi Goldberg, was directed by Steven Spielberg, and was based on a novel by Alice Walker?
I don't know a lot of Whoopi movies, but we'll go with Jumpin' Jack Flash.
No.
No?
No.
Which one is that?
The Color Purple.
Oh, okay.
Which I did not know was directed by Steven Spielberg.
Nah, I did not know either. Not really a Spielberg thing, I thought, but okay.
No, but I actually watched that movie a lot when I was younger, and I didn't know the answer to that. So
fantastic. No, I have absolutely no idea. I didn't know that was not Stephen King. Steven Spielberg flick.
Wait,
Okay.
You know what? Matter of fact, I was talking about Stephen King for the Storm of the Century.
Okay.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, it's Stephen King.
I said Spielberg earlier, didn't I?
No, I think you said King.
All right, whatever.
We just got two Stevens stuck in our head now.
I know,
Thanks for that question.
slip flop.
All right, so next question. What creepy 1990 thriller had the tagline, "The most frightening thing about Jacob Singer's nightmare is that he isn't dreaming"?
What, 1990?
The 1990 thriller. And this is a tough one, too, and this is a movie I'd really like to get you to sit down and watch.
It sounds like I'm going to have to because I don't know. 1993 thriller.
Right, very trippy movie.
No, nothing.
The movie's called Jacob's Ladder. If you ever get a chance to watch that, and I think this is one of those things I'm going to drag you over. We can go ahead and sit down and watch that, but that is a fantastic film.
Because you have to remember this. When I was younger, very strict Christian home, I was not allowed to watch a lot of things. So, like, me branching out into movies was more when I was a little bit older.
It's got a very young, geeky-looking Tim Robbins in it. But yeah, it's a very good flick. I think you'd like it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I like most movies. Most
All right.
movies.
You're next.
All right. Name the Russell Crowe movie with a tagline that reads, "One man's extraordinary fight to save the family he loved."
The Russell Crowe movie, one man's extraordinary fight to save the family that he loved. Oh dear, Russell Crowe. I don't know a lot of Russell Crowe films either. It's weird. It's like I'm looking from the outside in with just the actor's name. I'm trying to think of movies like I'm.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's not easy. Yeah, you're gonna have to give me that one. I have no idea.
Cinderella Man.
Okay. I don't think I've seen that actually.
See, there's a movie you haven't seen.
Well, I have my head stuck so far up the ass of the Troma-esque movies that sometimes the really good movies, and that I believe was an award winner. I don't think I've seen that, and that's like one of those things. Like haven't seen like Chinatown and The Two Jakes. I really want to watch those movies. Award-winning movies, fantastic fucking movies. Haven't seen them. So I love those really bad movies so much that I've been kind of deprived of seeing the award-winning films, the really good ones. Okay, so let's go with this one. What Adam Sandler movie's tagline was, "If your father was the devil and your mother was an angel, you'd be messed up too"?
Yeah, it's Little Nicky.
Little Nick.
Yeah.
And
But release the good.
I'm gonna
I
cough
can't
again.
do
Hold on. Of all of the Adam Sandler movies that I've watched, and I know this is not a general consensus, probably one of my favorites.
I love Little Nicky. I wasn't allowed to watch it for the longest time. And I ended up watching it years after, and everybody was talking about it. I was like, it can't be that good, you know what I mean? Kind of like in denial. And finally, I ended up watching it, and I was like,
Say Mr. Beefy. Say Mr. Beefy. And I'm done.
Love the dog, and you know that was his dog too.
yeah. And
Meatball.
Meatball's been in a few of his movies.
Uh,
See, like Adam Sandler movies, if you start asking me questions about those, I'm pretty up there on knowledge about him.
well, if I find any other Adam Sandler movies in here, I'll let her rip.
Sure, at some point. Well, I mean, I'm not saying do it, but, you know, if it comes along and you want to ask. The one word completes the following movie titles.
Okay.
Dark blank, silver blank, or sin blank.
City.
That's the only thing I can think of. Yes.
Yes. And I've seen all of them. Silver City, Dark City,
And Sin City.
and Sin City. Have you seen Dark City?
No, I don't.
Another
believe
one
so.
of my favorite little sci-fi trip fests.
Yeah.
there's a lot of movies I've got to introduce you to. I feel like I'm deprived because you've seen a lot of those really big movies that I haven't.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of those movies that floated under the radar that you haven't.
Right. I mean, the two halves of the same coin over here. I'm very, very big into, like, new movies and everything also.
So, I mean, I guess in the same vein as you've got to give me the time to pollute your mind, and I've got to give you the time to educate mine.
Right.
So.
I mean, like I said, I have Showbox, so any new movie that comes out in theaters, if it's interesting, I'm watching it. You know what I mean?
All right. So next question: what 2005? What 2005 Tim Burton movie has the tagline "Loving you is like loving the dead"?
Nightmare Before Christmas. No.
No, but I want to say in and around the same style.
Yeah. No,
Probably the same actors. No, not really.
Frankenweenie?
No.
That's way after, right? Do you know the answer to this?
Yes, I do know the answer.
Okay.
To this. Like I said, it was one of those
Claymation
animated
type deal?
films.
Yeah.
Yes. Claymation animated.
Would it be Caroline?
There's one you're missing, a big one.
I know, and I'm getting mad because I can't think of it.
You want me to give that to you? Okay, throwing that out there. The Corpse Bride.
You see, I have not watched that one.
You haven't seen? Oh, jeez. That's one of the better ones. Better than Frankenweenie, anyway.
I haven't seen Frankenweenie either, but it's on my list of things to watch. And that's what, like, I've seen like every trailer for it, and it's just like it's there, but I like.
Well, sir, I've got kids, so you can understand that I've seen most animated things. Some animated things that I made the misstep of allowing them to watch to begin with. Like, I shouldn't have let my then 12-year-old watch Sausage Party. That was probably a bad idea. And my lovely boy over here, Alex, who's sitting right next to us playing Apex on the television, we polluted his mind at an early age with some severely bad choices. So
American Pie.
American Pie. Oh yeah, there was a lot of things. Yep. And the look on Alex's face, it wasn't the nudity, it was the look on Alex's face when Jim was fucking the pie on the counter. That was just, I don't think I should be watching this, Dad. It's okay, go ahead, watch the movie.
It's fine. He only fucks the pie for 5 minutes.
Wait, didn't you take me to the theaters to watch
I didn't
that?
take you, no, that was way before. No, I didn't take you to the theater to watch that. We watched the trilogy. Back when it was still a trilogy. Okay. Your move, sir.
Name.
Oh, is it my move?
No,
that was your move.
Name the 1997 satire about a scheme to cover up a presidential scandal by producing a fake war.
Oh, Wag the Dog.
Guys, you guys don't see this, but my face is just like, dude, how do you know this crap? Like, I had Little Nicky. That's all I got. And I watch a lot of movies. Start asking me some modern day stuff.
Modern day stuff. Okay, how about this? Who plays the title role in the 2003 black comedy Bad Santa?
Fucking, I hate this. I know exactly. That's what Bad Santa.
Bad Santa. You can see his face.
He's in fucking Bad News Bears.
School for Scoundrels.
Billy Bob Thornton.
There you go, Billy Bob Thornton, otherwise known as Angelina Jolie's former blood mate. They used to go around carrying vials of blood that were on their necklaces, like vials of each other's blood.
Creepy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Angelina Jolie was kind of special.
She has a sweatshop.
She doesn't need to sweat anymore. She's like a stick.
Well, yeah, no, but she has a bunch of adopted children making Nikes in her backyard. Just kidding. I love you.
You do. I'm indifferent. All right. Your turn.
And then, what 1995 movie does a fighter named Ivan Drogo try to intimidate his opponent with the line, "I will break you"?
I will break you. That would be Rocky IV.
Yes. Now, I started reading this question, and when I midway got through it, I was like, fuck.
Yeah, he's going to know
like,
Now, bonus points if you can name... Bonus points for you if you can name the actor. And he's been in a lot of recent stuff,
He's been in a lot of things. I mean...
They brought him back,
Yeah.
thanks to the Expendables.
Something... Commissioner Croft. No, I don't...
Commissioner Croft. No. Dolph Lundgren.
See, I wouldn't
No?
guess that. I know his face. I know his
And,
face. Any movie he comes in.
His woman, his trainer in that movie, was Flava Flav's former girl, Brigitte Nielsen.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Flavor Flav.
I would break you.
I would blink. Yeah, honestly, once I got it, I was like, Ivan Drago.
All right, this one should be easy for you. I am literally throwing you an underhand pitch right now. Underhand, slow pitch.
Swing
You
and
should
a
knock
miss.
this out of the park. Oh, bear with me a moment. I've got to adjust myself. I'm about to read a card, but I am sitting in such a position that my left butt cheek and leg have fallen the fuck asleep. And I'm trying to get some circulation back.
Oh, no.
That's what you get for sitting on the floor. All right. What 1991 movie turned "Hasta la vista, baby" into a popular catchphrase?
The Terminator. Judgment Day.
Terminator
2.
Terminator 2, yes. If you said 3, I would have kicked you in the leg. And I am close enough to do that.
Yes, you are, but your butt cheeks are numb, so I don't know if you'd have enough power behind it.
It would be like throwing a very large wet noodle at you, but yeah.
No homo.
I said a very large wet noodle, not my very large wet noodle.
Whose head's in the gutter? Mine.
Anyway.
So, name the Oscar-winning actress who starred in Fargo, Wonder Boys, and Almost Famous.
Oh, fuck. I want to say Laura Linney?
No.
No. Shit, what's her name? It's not Laura Linney, because I know who that is. Fuck. And then
Want a hint?
you can give me a hint, but...
Because it's begins with an F.
F. Nope, go ahead. Whatever. I don't know.
Frances McDormand.
Frances McDormand. Okay, yeah. You got me with one I don't know.
Yes!
Congrats.
Bing, 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 bing. Someone ring the bells.
You stumped the Chris. Alright. What 1987 horror movie has a boy named Sam frantically telling his brother, "You're a creature of the night, Michael," just like out of a comic book?
1987.
Think about it. I'll read that again to you. What 1987 horror movie has a boy named Sam frantically telling his brother, "You're a creature of the night, Michael," just like out of a comic book? And this is a big one, too. This one should be easy. And if you haven't seen this film, I might kick you for that.
You might have to kick me because it's not drawing any.
All right, I'm gonna start naming actors in the movie, and then hopefully it'll ring a bell for you. So we've got Bill Winter, of Bill and Ted fame. Kiefer Sutherland. Anything yet? Corey Feldman. Corey Haim. Both in the same movie. No?
No, nothing. Zero, zilch, nada.
Vampire movie. It's a vampire movie with all those people in it. I'm not sure you recognize anybody else.
Love vampire
The Lost
movies.
Boys.
Never seen it.
You've never seen The Lost
I
Boys?
wasn't allowed to.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I wasn't allowed to watch anything. Like I said, like you're asking me 1987 questions. I was born in 1990.
I mean, I've been out of the loop for a lot of things, but even that's a big... Oh, I gotta get that for you now. We're just gonna have like a weekend where I just drag you over here and just... we cram in a bunch of movies.
Smoke a lot.
Smoke a lot. Yeah. Well, I mean, you're gonna research something. You want me to throw another question at you while you're doing that?
Yes, because I want to see if I have it. Honestly, if it's a larger movie, and then I more than likely have it on Showbox.
Okay, so we'll go with what 1999 sci-fi spoof had the tagline, "The show has been canceled, but the adventure is just beginning." And we actually discussed this movie the last podcast that we had been on. Because, and I'm going to give it away here, not the last podcast, but a couple of podcasts ago, we did a John Dies in the End podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And the uniforms worn by the officers at the end of the movie were also seen, or they were used in that movie. So they reused those for John Dies in the End.
Oh, Galaxy Quest.
Very good. Yes, right. There you go. Spot on.
And yes, I have this movie.
You have that movie?
Lost Boys.
Oh, yeah. You definitely have to watch that. Right. That was like one of the seminal vampire movies of my youth. Right there, right up there.
It all started with Blade for me.
That was seminal, not semen.
Seminal semen.
Okay. Now you got a question for me.
All right.
Throw one at me. Sort of, kind of.
Name the writer-director star behind Lost in America, Mother, and Defending Your Life.
Lost in America, Mother, and Defending Your Life?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that... Writer, director, and star in all three of them?
Mm-hmm.
Lost in America, Mother, and...
I want to say it's a dude.
I have no idea. Go ahead.
Albert Brooks.
Oh, those are the older movies. Maybe I haven't seen those. Oh, Mother. Oh, I have seen Mother. Wow. Okay, Albert Brooks. He's the guy that did the voice of Nemo's dad.
Okay. All right.
He did Nemo's dad. Okay. That took me a sec. All right. Nope, you wouldn't know that one. I was going to give you something. I'm like, I don't think you'd know that movie at all. What movie has Jack Nicholson manically declaring, "Wendy, I'm home"?
Don't look at me like that.
And Alex... okay, I might like Alex. Alex just shot around. He was playing his game and then shot around the second I say this. Alex, you give us the answer.
The Shining.
The Shining, exactly. We just... We just let 14-year-old Alex watch The Shining for the first time.
Oh, so recently.
Recently,
no wonder
yes.
why.
We got the Blu-ray.
By
and
far my favorite.
he watched
Go
that by
home.
himself, too. I'm surprised. Did you put it in the freezer, Joey?
No.
No? Okay.
Oh my god, wait, I just got that reference. I hate you. Oh no.
Okay, your turn. Then we got time for maybe 2 or 3 more questions.
What 1987 chick flick had a 2004 sequel that was subtitled Havana Nights?
That would be the sequel to Dirty Dancing.
Sir, yes,
The
sir.
worst sequel for a movie.
The worst?
If I was not afraid of damaging the equipment, I would vomit right here. I would stick my finger down my throat and vomit everywhere. It promotes that kind of anger in me. Okay. So we'll move on because I want to.
I got a question for you.
So here's one that you may or may not know. What romantic comedy is Drew Barrymore's character?
50 First Dates.
In what romantic comedy is Drew Barrymore's character one bad marriage away from having the name Julia Gulia?
Oh, I jumped the gun there.
You're close.
It's with Adam Sandler?
Yes.
It's not 50 First Dates.
It's the other one. The other film with him and her in it.
Poop.
Think a very 80s-centric movie. It was very 80s.
The Wedding Planner?
Yes.
Yes.
The Wedding...
Singer.
There we go. Not the Wedding Planner. Okay.
I got... Alright, this one here.
You got one more question here for me, and then I got one more for you.
Name Scarlett O'Hara's Southern Plantation and Gone with the Wind.
What? I have to name the plantation?
Yes.
Okay, first of all, I haven't watched a lot of big box office movies.
This is like a 1960s movie. Like the fact
that
I know
that's
the fact
before
that I know
1960s.
We're gonna have to Google
have
the
to
year for that, but
go ahead and give me the name because I have no
Terra
clue.
Plantation.
Yeah, I had
TAR.
no clue. All right, and we're gonna end this out with another Oscar award. Maybe not Oscar award. Yeah,
1939
Academy Award, 1939. So that's old.
That's old.
And this is gonna be Jamie Foxx won his first Academy Award for what movie?
Back to the Future.
Jamie Foxx?
Oh, Jamie Foxx.
Not Michael J. Fox.
We were talking about Parkinson's earlier.
Jeez, no, Jamie Foxx, the other...
So repeat the question.
Motherfucker Jones,
Motherfucker Jones.
Jamie Foxx won his first Academy Award for what movie?
His first Academy Award for what movie?
And mind you, like it blows my mind that Jamie Foxx is getting Academy Awards after watching him in Living Color. Some of the stuff that he did on that, just...
His first Academy Award. Is it Taxi?
Taxi, no. I'll give you a hint. He was blind the entire movie.
Oh, Ray.
There we go.
Ray Charles.
Ray Charles.
I didn't watch that one.
All right. And with that, that is going to be the end of our podcast. Again, thank you for tuning in and listening, wherever the hell you might be, whether it's on Breaker, Spotify, Podcoin, the iTunes podcast store, or the Google podcast store.
Or maybe if you stop into the Steampunk Station, get a first look at us, especially since we're pretty funny.
Yes,
great people to meet.
If you ever get a chance to stop by Steampunk Station on a Sunday, we're usually there. I want to say occasionally there, not usually. I want to say maybe one podcast a month. We go and spend and record out at the Steampunk Station. We'll be there.
Eat some breakfast.
And it's usually between about noon and 5 o'clock that we're recording.
It's a large time frame, but...
Hell, if you just happen to stumble across us and have listened all the way to the end, well, thank you for taking the time to do so. Outside of that, from me and Seth here, you fuckers have a wonderful night.
And do me a favor and commit that.
Commit that?
Commit that.
Commit that to what?
Do whatever you want to think with commit that means.
Commit that?
Commit that.
Okay.
Commit murder, suicide, whatever you want to do. It's
no.
Commit to a marriage. Commit to a marriage. Commit that.
Get committed.
Get committed.
Like McCready, get committed.
Get
committed to a mental asylum. Don't listen to Seth. Do not commit suicide or murder. I don't know what the fuck he's doing over here. Jeez.
It was just commit that. You can commit to anything.
Okay, you can commit to something, not commit the act of.
Commit that. It could be commit that.
You know, we're not doing a Louis C.K. thing. You know, commit to the act of masturbation into a plant in front of a bunch of girls. Don't do that.
Yeah, listen. For this other movie that we were just watching, why do we say things and why do things happen? For no reason.
Yeah. No reason is the best reason to do anything. Pretty much.
That there is.